About 2,600 years ago, Jewish captives brought to Babylon woke up every morning to the sight of an enormous step tower, 7 stories tall, with a base of 300 feet, nearly 91 meters on each side. The very tower their ancestors had spoken of for generations, standing right before their eyes. The book of Genesis states it clearly. The whole earth had one language and one speech. The story of how a united humanity was scattered after the Tower of Babel has long been dismissed as allegory. But archaeology tells a different story. Today, we follow the evidence. What archaeology discovered. In 1913, German archaeologist Robert Koldewey uncovered a massive square foundation in the soil of modern-day Iraq. Each side measured 300 feet, about 91 meters. This was the base of the great tower the Babylonians called Etemenanki, a Sumerian word meaning foundation of heaven and earth. Many scholars believe this is the very structure described in the Bible as the Tower of Babel. Genesis records that the builders used brick instead of stone and tar instead of mortar. What the excavation uncovered was exactly that, fired bricks and bitumen. On the back of some of those bricks, the black bitumen is still visible to this day. And there is one more detail worth noting. In the 6th century BC, the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II rebuilt this tower and left behind an inscription. It reads, "With bitumen and fired brick, I raised its top to the heavens." The words are nearly identical to what Genesis had already written. The man who built it. The Bible names one man as the driving force behind this project, Nimrod. Described as the mightiest hunter and conqueror of his time, he gathered people together and set out to build the tower. His reason is recorded in Genesis chapter 11. "Let us make a name for ourselves and not be scattered over the face of the earth." This was not simply a construction project. It was a direct act of defiance against God's command to spread across the earth humanity's attempt to place itself in the position of God. When human progress meets pride, we begin to believe we are safe without Him. That was Babylon. A memory beyond the Bible. Here is something remarkable. The story of a single language being divided is not found only in the Bible. The ancient Sumerian epic Enmerkar and the Lord of Arada, written long before the biblical text was compiled, contains these words. There was a time when all the people of the world praised their God in one language, but the God changed the speech in their mouths. Different peoples, different eras, the same memory. That is difficult to call a coincidence. The tower within us. The Tower of Babel is not just a pile of rubble from thousands of years ago. It is still being built inside each of us. The desire to rise higher than others and be recognized, the confidence that we can control everything on our own, and the quiet moment when we place ourselves, rather than God, at the center of our lives. This is our Tower of Babel. But the Bible does not tell this story to condemn us. Even after the tower fell, God's work did not stop. The story of scattered humanity continued, and it continues still. So ask yourself, who is standing at the top of the tower you are building? On this channel, we trace the events of Scripture through the lens of history and archaeology, from the real location of the Garden of Eden to the historical evidence behind the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. We hope to see you in the next video. Have a peaceful day.